let's say hypothetically I'm talking to a girl right now, but she posts something.
Wait. Is Cole talking to a girl right
Hold
now?
on, he said hypothetically.
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 The way
not
he said it, though.
Yeah, he's like,
Like, just
if
to,
I was.
if I were to be, but
My name's Evan. This is my co-host, Cole.
What's popping off?
I feel like I could be a Disney prince.
Cole just solved global warming right now.
Juice WRLD recently released a song, and he actually has passed away. I think Taylor Swift's overrated.
The #1 podcast on Mars. Welcome to Run the Culture Podcast. My name's Evan. This is Colebot 1000.
Cobalt 1000, you know, I'm ready. Fresh.
You know, the longer
Got a
I've known
system
you, the
recharge.
more robotic you become.
The more robotic I become.
Yeah.
Give me an instance of you were like, dang.
The words you use.
How so?
He used expedite in a sentence.
I did.
Expedite.
It was
The only
proper
person
use.
I've ever seen use expedite is FedEx.
If you like, I think you just noticed because I'm currently in school, so I'm actively like using the words that I learned.
Oh.
So, and I have a word of the day email.
Really?
Yeah, I get.
Dang,
emailed
that's
a
how you
word
build your
every day.
vocabulary. You just read your
I feel like if you're
word of the day email.
constantly not learning new stuff, you just stagnant, garbage. That was me.
Oh.
Oh, speaking of crushes,
I didn't know she sang.
Dang.
I actually low-key hate Valentine's Day, but you know, like,
Why is that?
I think it's over. Like, why is it actually a holiday? I don't know.
I don't know. Let's get our
We
guests
have
take
a
on
guest.
that.
We have some guests.
Two amazing guests.
John, he's old, but Brittany, she's new. Brittany is new, old
That
to the
stare
podcast.
down.
John's old to the podcast. He's been here before, but
Dang.
Old news.
we have new fresh face.
Wow.
We have
Brittany.
a
Hello.
fresh.
Brittany, how was your
face.
Valentine's Day? You're the Concord Youth Director.
Yeah, I am.
Like, we hear great things about you. The Concord Youth.
Concord
on
is
fire.
popping.
We see them in the chat and when it comes to the podcast.
Yep.
But, like, how was your Valentine's Day?
So good. We went to Atlanta.
Really?
Mhm.
Oh.
Oh my gosh.
What's in Atlanta?
My mom and my dad live in Atlanta, and they have a house with an apartment in their backyard.
Okay.
And so we stay in the apartment for free, and they watch my daughter, and then we get to go eat
See the
and do whatever we
town.
want. Yeah.
Ah.
That's what's up. So, is this a regular Valentine's Day ritual or?
No.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
We just
This-
wanted to get out of here.
I was about to say, because it sounds like you do Valentine's Day up.
I mean, typically we just get food to go or we don't go out on Valentine's Day.
Do
Okay.
you like a rose on Valentine's Day?
No.
I
I don't
feel like
really
there's
feel like
not-
it doesn't really, Valentine's Day is not really anything to me. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Really?
kinda- yeah.
John, what is your Valentine's Day normally like?
What'd
Did
you say,
say
Cole?
Valentine's
What is
Day?
your Valentine's Day normally like?
Are you asking me because you're 19 and haven't had many of them yet, or like what?
Dang.
I'm asking because
There is some beef.
yeah, I don't
If you
Well,
can't.
Cole started the Run the Culture podcast with an
Dang,
anti-culture
with some
statement.
shade.
Well, because
With an-
here's the thing: at our church, we don't call it old; we call it longevity. And so,
I mean, I have heard pastor call people old.
old.
yeah,
And I mean, in, like-
LB's old, apparently.
I wasn't seeing old as in your age. I was saying
Mm.
old as into the podcast. Since
As
you've
in
been on, I didn't feel a
A
need to say,
returning face.
this is John. He's been on the podcast previously.
Yeah.
But Brittany, who has not,
Yeah.
she is a new face, which I specified.
Have y'all had any horror stories of Valentine's Days going wrong? Like, what's your worst Valentine's Day experience?
I feel like it was when we tried to go out on Valentine's Day and we couldn't get in like anywhere. So we
Yeah.
just stopped doing that.
But I feel like you got to set the reservation
Yeah,
in days in advance.
it's true.
Or you could just go the day before Valentine's Day,
Or like
Mhm.
the week
or the
before.
day after, and
Yeah.
then all the chocolate and everything's like 40% off.
I think chocolate is like I was addicted to chocolate at a young age, and ever since I've hated it.
Hold on.
Chocolate?
You don't like chocolate?
I can't stand it.
No
when
way.
when I was
that's
a child,
that's not even true.
when I was a child, I used to sneak the semi-sweet chocolate chips that would go in cookies.
Yummy.
Those
and I got it-
semi-sweets are nasty.
Well, I got
they're
addicted to
good
them,
at
They're
cookies.
bitter.
and I would be eating them nonstop for like weeks.
They say during Valentine's Day, 58 million pounds of chocolate is consumed
Yeah, I'm not part of
Yeah.
that 58.
in that week.
Wow. 58.
Evan, what did you do for Valentine's Day with Mackenzie, your girlfriend?
We made candles, which you can go to places like the Candle Bar
Yeah.
and make them, or you can go to Michael's Or
Mm-hmm.
I always get Michaels and Marshalls mixed up. Which is the craft store?
The craft, yeah.
Michael.
So
And you
Louis
can buy
Vuitton
all
is
the
the
stuff
craft
for
store.
way cheaper. And
I
like,
did not know that.
yeah, you can
So-
get like soy wax,
soy wax.
and
Isn't
then you can
soy a
find
food?
like a
Yes.
container, whatever you call
Mhm.
that, a candle.
Or like a mason jar or something.
Yeah, a mason
Yeah.
jar.
Now this prompts a question. What type of candle guy are you? Regular wick or crackle wick?
Ooh, that crackle wick is nice.
I don't know what
It
a
is.
crackle
The wood
wick is.
wick.
You've never had the
Oh,
crackle
Sounds
know
like
what
a
I know what a wood
fireplace.
wick is. Yeah.
Mhm.
It goes.
Ooh.
Those are superior.
I don't know if I've ever had a crackle wick, honestly.
It goes. Those are the ones that I have 2 of those in my bedroom right now.
Really?
Yes. I love them so much because it just like it's an experience. Normally when you have candles, it's just a smelling experience, but this takes the candles to the next level. It brings a hearing aspect.
Wow.
That's what I love about the.
Speaking of Valentine's Day and love,
Yeah.
on our last video, we had someone comment, you should talk about y'all's opinion on the love languages. Do y'all know what
Ooh.
what your love languages are?
Yes. But it's different for
Yeah.
all the different relationships.
Your
Wait,
love language shifts between
for your
relationships.
relation.
Yeah.
How so?
How so?
Well, like with my husband, it's going to be different than like my working relationships.
Valid.
That's
I
true.
don't know.
I've honestly never heard that though.
Mm-hmm.
Is this something that
like-
you've come across yourself, or you have been? You're like, oh, that just makes sense.
I
Somebody
feel
told
like if you talk to women, they would say the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, my highest one's words of affirmation, but with my husband, it would probably be words or like quality time.
you. Yeah.
If you don't know what the love languages are, it's basically this like breakdown that there are 5 different ways to experience love
Yeah.
and to give love.
Yeah.
And what are the 5 different
Physical touch, words of affirmation, acts of service,
quality time,
Gifts.
gifts.
and gifts?
You know what though? I give love by giving gifts, but when I receive gifts, I get weird.
Yeah,
Like I can't stand getting gifts.
I'm
but-
the same way.
but,
I
like,
love
unless it's like-
giving a good gift.
Yes.
Mm.
Like I love getting gifts. I don't like the interaction of getting gifts.
I think that's called insecurity.
No,
Okay.
it's weird when you receive a gift. I would agree with you. Like, it just feels like awkward.
Yeah, I thought most people like it's just a weird thing. You don't feel like, oh, I don't know how to respond in the moment.
But do you
Yeah,
love
it's like
it?
a
Do you feel
weird-
like seen after someone like surprises you with a gift?
Mm-hmm.
I like it
Like
when
if your
someone-
team never like encouraged you, but like they gave you a gift, would you be like, "Wow, I'm so loved"?
Yeah, but then it would also be like, okay, what do I do after now?
So maybe
Well,
you do.
See, it's weird when you have to open it up in front of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
love gifts if I can just, especially if it's a good gift, if I
Mm-hmm.
can just open it by myself and then send them a text or whatever. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Yeah,
Then it's not
preferred.
weird for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I go open this in the other room.
Yeah. Or like the worst is a card, a handwritten card, having to read that.
Because I feel
or
like
me writing a card and them reading it in
because
front
I feel
of
like
me.
people have in their mind, they're about to react this way.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not a crier, so if it's like I can tell they spent a lot of time writing this. I feel like an appropriate reaction would be to cry, and I'm not about to fake cry, so I'm gonna be like, wow, almost got me emotional, and I'm nowhere near emotional. But I just I feel like it's disrespectful if I don't like show how much it meant to me.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's just I don't know. I've never been in a place to where I get a gift and I'm like, I don't know how to react in that moment.
Yeah.
I'll probably send a text later and be like, hey, thank you so much. That really meant a lot.
Yeah.
That's how I handle gifts.
But I feel like the love language assessment is helpful in understanding people.
Yeah.
Totally.
Like my mom is acts of service,
Mhm.
and me, my dad, and my brother are all like quality time and words of affirmation. And so I could write the most amazing letter to my mom, and it would mean something to her. But if I went and took out the trash or did the laundry or
Yeah.
like that went so much further.
Yes.
And I'm like, I just don't understand that. Like, I don't really care about those things as much. I feel like you might be acts of service.
I think I'm all of them. I like
Yeah,
everything
but you would lean
except
to
quality time.
You are like heavy quality time, bro.
Heck no, dude.
Yes, bro.
No, I hate
That
it.
is no way.
Why do you think that?
Because I feel like you you love like being around people.
Mm-mm. I know that being around people is the way that I can build a connection with them. But on like a weekend, catch me by myself, dude. Like,
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that
Yeah.
surprises
That
me.
Well,
does
because
surprise
because
me.
I think the word quality time is a misnamed. Like when people say quality time, what they mean is quantity time. So they want a large amount of time. They want to be around. They want proximity. I
Yeah.
hate proximity. I like purposeful hangouts. Like I don't want to hang out with you for 12 hours and we're just there. But if we have an hour and a half of like purposeful activity, like actual quality time, I'm for that. But I think a lot of people who say they want quality time, they're like they just
Time
want
spent.
more time,
Yeah.
quantity.
But how
time
do you
spent.
how do you get to quality time without quantity time? Like I don't know.
Well, I think that's probably different for every person because I don't.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about this the other day. I don't necessarily like spending time. Like I don't care about the conversation we have. I just like being in the same room with people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, great, we're friends. I love it.
Lately, what I've been craving, rather than like feeling like if I'm hanging out with somebody, I don't want to feel like I have to like, oh, let's go do this, let's go do that. Sometimes I just enjoy like being stagnant in their like presence. Like I don't want to do anything. I just want to hang out. Or,
Yeah.
like we can like chill, watch a movie.
That's funny.
Or like,
Because that was the moment when I knew that I was like really comfortable with Mackenzie,
Mhm.
like my girlfriend.
when you just
When
didn't have to
when
do
you can
anything.
hang with someone and you don't have to say a word or
Yes.
feel any, then it's like, oh, we're in like a different stage of relationship now. Like I will hang out with Mackenzie all day long, and she will like sometimes she'll feel like, man, I just feel like we didn't really connect. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, because I was on my phone or because I wasn't fully present.
Yeah.
Which I
that-
think is the opposite. Like Cole's question shows areas of growth in relationship, meaning how do you get, people think you get quality from quantity, but you get quality from communication
Mm.
because you just literally proved it. You can spend all day. I mean, we're both married.
Yeah.
Same thing can happen, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And even like we're around our kids and spouses a lot, but how many weeks go by where you're like, I just feel like we just missed it
yeah.
because it's
very
quantity, but
true.
it's not quality.
Yeah.
In the real way, and I think that's even with friendship, and that's where I realized I was trying to appease people who wanted to be my friends instead of building friendships that went both ways, and I had to just communicate that. And so I've just had to be deliberate and say there are relationships. I need friends that fill me up and then I fill them up. Every relationship in my life can't be one-sided.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll have nothing left to actually give people. And I've strung people along before, like I feel like I've done more to friends, like the typical what girls get accused of doing in movies, like stringing people along,
Yeah.
like I friend zone people and that's the wrong thing because I am a very empathetic person and I don't want to make anyone feel bad. I was bullied when I was younger. I hate the thought of someone feeling discluded,
Yeah.
but because if I don't have direct communication, I'll like string people along and then eventually like it just fizzles out or I'm stressed or frustrated but I've just learned I have to be direct and be like,
Yeah.
this is what I need out of a friend, So that's why Leighton and I are such good friends because we're just like obsessed about some of the same
funny.
things. We
Yeah.
pick for instance, we both talk about serious things pretty much all the time. And then we find a video game that we obsess about and try to be the best at. And that's what I need in a friend.
Yeah.
You
I feel like when we're talking about love languages, though, it's not really applicable for high school students. Like, I feel like I've been asked in high school, what's your love language? And I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't matter.
But have they is it because they haven't taken the test or studied or talked about
I
it?
feel like it is.
I don't really feel like it's hard to. I feel like there's very few people in high school who actually know what love is.
Dang, let's
Yeah,
get
but I
into
feel like
that.
that's kind of into more how do you feel cared for? Like
Okay.
you could flip it.
Yeah.
So anytime I meet someone that is going to be on my team, that's the first thing I ask them. How do you feel cared for? Because to me, it's the same thing.
Well, and
I know love is different, but
and I think it's good for them to learn about it. I just think you'll change when you're in high school. Like you should start the process
sure.
of trying to figure out how you are, but it doesn't mean you have to label yourself. Like I think anyone under the age of 24, their Enneagram type, they're probably going to test different.
yeah, totally.
If they
Yeah.
took
It's
it when
always
they're
evolving.
16
Yeah,
or younger than 24, it's going to change.
that's true for me.
Yeah. I've even heard when I've been studying the Enneagram more, I know we're not going to do a whole nother episode on it, but I think love languages are a perfect thing that people's Enneagrams change when they're 40 again.
Yeah.
I just think seasons change you. And so I think it'd be wrong to put an expectation on a high schooler to be like, what's your top love language?
Yeah.
But just to teach them to start to understand it could be helpful.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, we were talking the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Cole brought this up about talking culture, how
Yeah.
I feel like youth these days just stay in a mode of like just talking and never.
And nobody really knows what it
Define-
means to be
yeah.
talking.
Yeah, it's like this super
Like,
gray space.
And
We're
then it's
not
like
dating,
people
but
get
we're
hurt
not.
because they're not exclusively talking. Then people do exclusively talk, and then they end up getting hurt because their partner is not exclusively talking. So I want to like find the root of what talking is, because I want to know what I've been doing wrong, if I have been doing wrong, and because I currently am single, but I wonder, like, if I were to get into a relationship or if I were to start pursuing someone, what is the right way to go about it with talking culture? How long should a talking frame be? Like, how are these things going? Brittany, when you and your husband started dating, how long was it before you guys were, like, I don't know how grown people do it, but how long before you were from talking to dating?
You said, I don't know how grown people do it.
I'm curious.
If you're wondering, Cole just graduated high school
Yeah.
last year,
2 years ago, 2019.
Well,
2 years ago.
okay, so I do think it is based off of I don't know, where you guys are in life, because I talked to people all the time when I was 19, 20, 21, but I'm also I'm a 1 on the Enneagram, and I feel like there's a right way to do things. So if I was going on a date with someone, I would not talk or date anyone else.
Okay.
So
Why not, though?
because I feel like it's wrong. To me, it's wrong. It's like, how can you give this person a shot? Okay, so like when Steven and I started dating,
Mm-hmm.
we went on a date, our first date, January 1st of 2017. And I was still talking to my not my ex-husband. Wow.
Whoa.
That's a clip.
I was talking I was talking to my ex-boyfriend still, that we had been on and off for like 8 to 10 years. And I literally remember being in IKEA, and he had texted me, and I said, hey, I just started going on a date with this guy, and he seems really great, and I feel like I can't really give him a full shot if you are still talking to me and distracting me.
Dang.
So I'm going to give this a shot. And I literally have not talked to him since. He was like, I totally understand. Like, do you figure it out? Never talked to him since.
Wow.
That's inspiring.
I think things like that are like, I think we try to give people helpful handles on how to approach relationships, but everyone is so different. And I think we should just teach people to measure how it's affecting their life versus the process of how to get there. We can give people helpful tips, but I'm like, someone could talk for 3 months, someone could talk for 6 months, and talking means different for every person. I think it's just about like not like protecting your heart and protecting somebody else's heart and just being smart. Like even defining like, what are you hoping to get out of this? And if the two people have a different idea of the outcome, then you're probably always going to be frustrated. So communication is just what do you want out of this like relationship? I think that's the ultimate goal of talking to someone is like trying to be like, I feel like when someone feels like, oh, I was talking to them and they switched up on me, but maybe they didn't switch up because they didn't have the same idea of what y'all were trying to do. You thought you were talking, they thought they were just talking. So I think like, man, like if you get led astray for a couple months, it could probably is your fault because you didn't communicate.
According to Insider.com and according to relationship experts, they say it's socially acceptable to ask the question about dating after 2 months of talking to someone.
Oh, see, I've never been in a position to where I've talked
That
to
is
anybody for
bananas.
more than 2 months. That I have not pursued
I also, well,
deeper than talking.
what John said too, like that's so true. Like with Steven and I, we started dating in January and got engaged in April, but I know that was really close, but we were engaged for a long time too. But like we were together almost every day. Like we went on a date almost every day of the week. So for someone who's talking or you see each other at school, like it's just different. Like, and pretty much from the get-go, it was like, what are our intentions? Is this just something that's fun? Or are you like being serious? So I think, people talk about the DTR, but.
Yeah. And Amanda and I were together for 5 years before we got married. We
5
dated,
years?
we were friends for 2 years.
Was that high school?
We met right out of high school.
But did you
Wow.
like her for those 5 years?
Yeah, we were friends. Well, no, some of it was friendship,
Oh, okay.
which I think is like, I think
Mhm.
friendship, even like Brittany saying, like, we spent every day together. To me, the most important part about that probably wasn't even anything to do romantic.
Oh,
it
no.
was the friendship
Yeah.
part. Like, friendship is the most underrated part of a
Oh.
relationship.
Totally.
Because attraction, that comes easy. Ain't nobody got to work at being attracted. You either
Yeah.
are attracted to them or you're not.
That's true.
So
Sure.
we make such a big deal about that when it's like, nah, fam, like, are you or aren't you? And the main thing I think is friendship. Are
Yeah.
you friends with that person? And can you build a romantic relationship on top of the friendship?
Yeah.
So let's.
When I want to know
My
your
bad, my
story
bad.
though. When did you know? Like, how did you know? Actually, I am interested in pursuing Amanda.
Yeah. So she just was better than everyone else around. Like, I was just, when I was 18, I was lucky enough to have a youth pastor who just helped me set my high standards. And so I just already knew. I was like, who's the best? And maybe I went about it in a weird way, but I was literally, God bless you. Thanks, God.
Dunstan.
Shout out to
Can you-
Josiah on the ones and
Dunstan.
twos.
It's the
Dunstan in the research.
fact checker.
And so I just, honestly, she was a better leader and loved Jesus more than other people. And
That's
I was
a
like,
combo.
before I even knew much about her, so I just kind of like, she became my crush based off of those factors. Cause I'm just like, even at 18, I was like, I want to be the best. I want to go the farthest. I want to do the biggest things for God. And
Yeah.
the number one thing that will cap you is dating or marrying like the wrong person. Like, I can't imagine, like,
Yeah.
what you do as a youth pastor at Concord would be so hindered if you had a husband who was disconnected
Yeah. Totally.
or didn't care.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
feel like why you guys are so successful is because not only does he like what you do,
Yeah.
but he takes it to, like, he helps
Yeah.
you do it.
Yeah. for
So
sure.
yeah, so then we became friends, and then we actually got closer. And the closer we got, there was like a few months where, because we got closer, we butted heads a lot and we didn't like each other. But what we realized there on the other end is we were actually working out some of our relational problems. Some of the conflict people think means that they're incompatible are actually them working through their communication with
Yeah.
somebody that they should be with. Like, people think that, oh, we argue. It's like, if you can't go through some arguments,
You need to be able to argue.
yes, dude.
Yeah,
Work through
it's
it.
a healthy part.
So
of it.
yeah, so
Yeah.
then, I mean, that's like the short of it. And then we dated for 2 years, and then I proposed to her.
I feel like there's so
Smooth.
much. Like, me and Cole were talking about this again. He's like, how do you know when you love someone?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's an interesting question because there's so much pressure, like what you're talking about. These
Yeah.
little things, like, well, what if your significant other isn't in line with the same things that you want to pursue and accomplish and do? And I mean, I think there's so many of those things. Like, how do you fight that balance of?
I kind of have a hot take I've been thinking of recently.
Okay,
Are we ready for it?
So ready.
I don't know
culture.
if I'm ready.
I think who you end up with has far more to do with just choosing them and making a commitment than emotion or fate or even attraction. I just think I think like you were attracted to Steven. You
Yeah.
were compatible. That's great. There probably are several other guys you could have met in the world. There probably were several other guys in the world that could have fit that. But at the end of the day, what makes what you have special, what makes what I have with Amanda special, what makes what you have with Mackenzie special, is at the end of the day, I just choose her. And I think part of why the
Yeah.
divorce rate is so high in our country is because people get into a relationship because of feelings and attraction. And when those things fade, they think the relationship fade. But like marriage and all good relationships, even friendships, are built on commitment more than they are even compatibility.
Yeah.
Because bro, at the end of the day, I feel like the more I get to know
That's a
Amanda,
quote.
the more different we actually are. So I'm like, some of this stuff about being compatible, I'm like, on what level? Like, to me, the compatibility that's most important with Amanda is her values and her relationship with God. But then at the end of the day, that she was willing to fight it out with me and stick through it.
Yeah. Dang.
Sorry.
So what do you guys think? Do you guys think?
I want to know, based off of what you just said, I want to know, how do you build your commitment levels? I'm not saying that I'm a person who is scared of commitment, because I don't think that I am. But if, like,
I
I
feel
know
like
there's,
we're all a little bit scared of commitment, though.
and to a level, yes. Like, if
I would
I were
say-
to meet a girl right now and I was like, dang, she's fire, I would marry her, I'd be scared to.
Yeah.
But I want to know, how do I build my commitment?
Well, I think you should be scared of commitment. Like, commitment is scary. So I think it's actually, I think it's a fear we should never get rid of.
Mm.
But I think it's like, I think the commitment comes, I think it's more about, I think when you base a long-standing relationship based off commitment versus compatibility, it alleviates the pressure right away. Because when you meet that girl, you're just getting to know her, not to see if she's compatible, but to see if one day do I want to make a commitment to her. So if you're not compatible, if you are or you're not, I don't know, there's this like less pressure. Like at the end of the day, I think that like two people falling in love is about two people choosing each other, not two people like stumbling into each other. Like
that's the freedom of marriage is, holy cow, like every day this person chose me for the rest of my life. Like I don't have to do anything to make this person love me less or be worried that they're going to leave. Like they literally committed their life to me. And I think that's what marriage and a relationship does bring. Like, and I think that's a problem with a lot of relationships is it does start off so about attraction and relationship, like just convenience even, and not even just the, like, what are the basics? Like, can we have great conversation? Do we have the same values? Like, because the attraction and everything else that can come later, you know, it might not be right off the bat, but I mean, there are a lot of ugly guys that you see with really beautiful girls. And I know everyone's been like,
I'd be wondering,
what the heck? How?
How, Sway?
I think like the way you build your compatibility in a relationship is just check your commitment in other areas. How are you going to be like faithful to a relationship, which is probably the hardest thing anyone will ever do. Like maybe parenting, but I don't know. Marriage and having a girlfriend is the hardest thing like the most difficult thing that I've ever had to do because it requires so much like me just dying to myself. So I think if people are wondering, because I think that's a brilliant question, Cole. If you want to grow your commitment in a relationship setting, just check your commitment in other areas of your life. Are you committed to the things you said you would do? Are you committed to your team, showing up on time, to your work? If you can't keep a job for more than 2 months, you ain't going to keep a relationship for more than 2 months. Or you're going to keep it and it's going to be whack.
According to a new study, in 2019, the U.S. divorce rate has hit a record low since the 1960s.
A record low?
Record low, which for the data is for every 1,000 marriages, how many of them end in divorce, and they quantify that depending on where you live. The highest it ever was
a little bit closer to the mic.
Right now in 2019 was the last time I did the study. It was 14.9, which before that it was in 2008 it was 19.8. So it's dropped to 14.9, which is the lowest it's been since the 1960s.
14.9%.
14.9 of
the 1,000
marriages. Out of 1,000 marriages, how many of them in divorce? And it's 14.9.
Like 15.
So that's like 1.9 out of every 100, which is equivalent to.
But how many people are not getting, like, what is the stat on living together? Because I've heard that is more common, that people are not getting married, but just living together, which is why, because they don't want to go through divorce. They don't want to.
Yeah, this stats just off of people who are married.
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard to account for people who are living together because when you're married, that is a document, but living together, who nobody has to know. So now this prompts me with a question.
Ask.
Why don't we stay in the talking stage longer? Like, I don't mind. I enjoy dating and talking. The one thing I don't understand is when you're talking, like John said, you have to communicate. If you communicate to someone, hey, we're talking, I'm going to talk to other girls, they're going to be like, oh, okay, never mind. So how do you get to a place to where you were able to pursue someone, but also, because what if you're pursuing them and you realize they're not the option?
Then you tell them,
hey,
bye.
And then you just move on with your life?
Yeah.
That is a very valid answer. I like that one.
It's just like you got to be upfront with people. And I feel like eliminate the talking. Like, okay, talk for a little bit, sure. Decide if this is someone that you want to be in a relationship with. But at the end of the day, like, talking in a relationship is just about commitment and what your intentions are. And you're probably not really worried about intentions if you're just trying to, you know, have fun with someone.
Which is why I actually think it's like 200 IQ for the people that they don't move the physical component of a relationship faster than the relational component of the relationship. Because, bro, you start making out with someone, like you sleep with someone, you get, like, you start having those things happen, of course you gonna feel committed and attracted and connected, because this is like it's a scientific fact that our body is like it awakened to those things, that there are actual like neural and like connections that happen between two people. And there's a quote, I forget who said it, but maybe it was Andy Stanley. He said, like, you're sexually compatible with 95% of people you could date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but you're relationally compatible with probably about 5%. So it's just, I think we put so much value on the attraction part. And I'm like, bro, I think so. When I was in high school, like the first thing I would try to do with the girl is make out with her. Like that was like the test. I don't know why. I don't know who told me that. Maybe movies. Yeah. But so that was step one is like, oh, let me get to a place to where we can make out and then we'll decide. But then maybe that's why I had so many messed up relationships in high school. I don't know,
No,
bro.
that's such a valid point. If you are talking to someone like
just to make out,
I would not even be physical with them because there's this. Talk about stringing a girl on. I mean, that there's an emotional component to that you're gonna break her heart if you are physical with her, but you're not in a committed relationship with her.
Yeah, I didn't even.
I'm about to see because then I think on the other side, I'm like, girls, the guys you're talking to, you might not be like, feel like, oh, I'm not putting myself out there. But dude, if you are trying to romantically connect with someone, I think there needs to be a correlation with the things you post on the internet. Yeah. Not saying anyone should feel shame about it, but just it can be confusing to guys. Like I think guys can just guys and girls can get confused real quick when the emotion and the physical attraction is in it. So we have to be careful with what we're putting out on every level.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what like this generation, we're like, oh, it's just a post, and we don't think about the intentionality because like, let's say hypothetically, I'm talking to a girl right now, but she posts something.
Wait. Is Cole talking to a girl right now?
He said hypothetically.
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 The way he said it though.
Yeah, he's like
like just
if I were to be.
But hypothetically, I'm talking to a girl right now, right? Mm-hmm. If she goes and posts something on social media to where it's like, who wants to hang out with me? Ugh. Or something like like
the thirst trap.
I'm gonna be like, yeah, whoever wants to hang out with you can take my spot in talking as well, because that's gross to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I feel, and that may have been innocent. Like maybe she went. That's altered to girls.
This feels real.
Like, and she, it's not real. It's not real. This has happened in the past, not currently. But it's like, that's. I know there's gonna be a bunch of dudes that are like, oh, I want to hang out with you, and it's like her like.
Hey, sample that. Can we get that? Can we get that on a do the dash beat, please?
But she may have been innocent about it. Like she may have just been wanting to hang out with finding new people to hang out with that are girls or guys, and it may not have been that.
If she's putting that on social media, nah.
Okay, look, I don't know the answers because I'm not in that position and I'm not a female. But I'm just saying, you got to think. Hey, I know that I'm not dating this person. I know I'm not married to them. But let me think. If somebody were to do this to me and I was talking to them, how would I feel?
Yeah.
Because that's what I feel like. I did not care about how the person I was talking to felt until like a year ago. Because I didn't even think, talking. It's just someone I'm talking to. We don't date. There's no like obligation. And then I realized, no, like they still have feelings. They still have a heart. And that's what has allowed me to shift my perspective when it came to talking.
Back to what John said, it is Annie Stanley in Summer's book, The New Rules for Love, Sex, and Dating.
The New Rules for Love, Sex.
And I think he wrote that like in the midst of having teenage kids and pastoring people who have been divorced. So I think it's a good book. I remember when Pastor Stephen and Holly did Mr. and Mrs. Better Half. It was like in like 2013 or something like that. I remember like that really helped me because it was right around the time Amanda and I were like getting really serious. And that helped so much because Cole, like, I think what you're saying, I think what I hope people are hearing us say is we're not judging, we're not yelling at people. Like, I think we're just trying to point out the practicality. Like, people get in their feelings when people talk about what they're doing, whether it's good or bad. But at the end of the day, there's just a practicality to some of the decisions we make. Even let's remove right or wrong. I'm just saying, bro. Cole's point was perfect. You post saying like, hey, I'm trying to talk exclusively to Cole, but look here I am trying to send out to the whole world with puppy eyes like, come hang out with me. I just think I'm not judging you, boo-boo. I'm just saying maybe no one's told you there's a better way, there's a different way, and we ain't here to hate on you. I just think I got my heart broken.
You know what? If it's weird, I found a solution right now. I just thought of this.
Okay.
If you're thinking that you're talking to someone and you don't know if they're talking to you, send them this podcast right now.
There you
and
go.
If they got this far into the video, that means they obviously had some interest of what you sent to them. And if they text you back and be like, you know what, I feel the same vibes, you guys are on the same page.
They need, this is it. You need to text the lightning bolt. Okay.
Text
if
the
you put-
lightning
if you
bolt
put
back
the
to
lightning bolt in the comment.
Now that's how we
No,
know.
won't know. You
Then
signaled
we'll know.
us.
Evan and I are your new wingmen.
That's the lightning bolt.
John
emoji.
and B Ward were here as well, but you know, like
That's the spark.
the run the culture, run the culture.
We make sculptures.
Run the
culture.
sculpture. Run this, like, we just want to set y'all up for success. If
That's
I
right.
had this video and I was like, and I'm terrible at hey, I don't know how to determine the relationship. They send you that lightning bolt back.
Dang, you
I want
that
a
spark?
Starbucks gift card. I don't even like gifts, but I want a Starbucks gift card just cause
Dang.
like we set that up for y'all.
Yeah.
That's a nice alley oop. Go ahead and share that. Just make sure you get the right vibes.
One of my biggest questions about relationships is why so many of us, and I've been guilty of this too, we have seen our older brothers or sisters or
Yeah.
parents
Yeah.
do X, Y, Z,
Mhm.
fall in line with a certain culture of dating
Mm.
or partying or meeting people at certain places, Tinder, whatever. And we see how it turns out, but we do the same thing. And it's like, I think it's literally because we can only do what we know, so many of us.
Yeah.
But I think that's such a good question. Like, why do we look around and see people crumbling because they take a certain path, but we do it anyway?
Yeah.
I
Like,
think it's because we don't know no better.
yeah.
Like, how am I supposed to know how to treat a lady if I've never seen somebody do it correctly?
Yep.
Mhm.
I didn't
Yeah.
even know that I didn't know you were supposed to take girls out and open the door and meet them at their door on the first date and introduce yourself to their parents and do all this stuff. Because
Yeah.
who teaches you that?
Yeah.
There's no
Mhm.
book. There may be a book. I haven't read that book. I'm not. When I'm 16 years old,
Right.
I'm not thinking, let me read a book on how to
Next time.
treat a lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's just hard. You don't have common
that's
sense is
true.
not common, and you are
100%.
you're so nervous when you're talking to a girl. The last thing
Uh-huh.
you're thinking about is, dang, let me make sure that I approach this situation the correct way so that I can be set up for success come the longevity of this relationship.
Yeah.
It's true.
I don't
I
know.
I don't think, and this is kind of opening up a whole different topic, but I don't think that shaming someone promotes, like, will motivate someone into a different behavior. I think it
1000%.
drives them back into that behavior.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think that mode of like, well, mom saying I did this when I was your age, don't do it. You can see the consequences.
Yep.
Like and I feel like there's like a shame attached to that of like, oh, I'm
Yep.
becoming like my mom or whatever, my dad.
Yeah.
That just drives you further into the cycle.
And that's why I think it's like, I would hope that this podcast and like our entire youth ministry is like, we're not here to shame. We just I think the best thing is like, just have conversations about it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
assume that as a 15-year-old and as a 28-year-old and one day as a 45-year-old, there's just a lot about life we don't know. So
Yeah.
let's just ask questions.
Yeah.
Let's question. Like, I think questioning things is one of the healthiest things you can do.
I
Why am I
100%
trying to date
agree.
this girl? Why is DMing 5 different people right now? Why is like keeping up streaks? Why is thinking about Tinder?
Like, what's the motivation? Like, follow it back to that root of
yeah,
your
who told me that?
motivation.
You
Yeah.
know, like who
Yeah.
told me this was a good thing? You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I
That's
have
good.
friends.
That's in Genesis.
Yeah.
After they
Found out they were naked.
found out they were naked.
And
Yeah, who
unashamed.
told you?
God said,
Amen.
who told you that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
That's something that I will go back to and like, wait, who told me that?
Yep.
Who told me that?
And I think like a lot of times, you know, what if you're listening to this and you are a Christian, this is important for you to know. But especially if you're not, we're so glad you're here. I think that's where the church has gotten it wrong, is they try to change the
100%.
culture by shaming it. But I feel like we're here to run the culture by just explaining it, like just talking
And
and,
I feel-
having conversations.
I feel like that is why
Yeah.
so many people have turned away from the church is
Yep.
because they weren't allowed to ask the questions.
Mm-hmm.
And my hot take is I believe that God actually enjoys when we even question him. You know, even,
Yeah.
I definitely went through a season of like, is God real? Like, how do I
Mhm.
know if God's real? Like, how did I end up in the right interpretation of the Bible? Like, why do
Mhm.
we? And I kind of went down a little bit of a rabbit hole, and something my dad told me is like, you question the things that you care about.
Yep.
And so to
So good.
God, I think that is a representation of, no,
You don't
my
question. You don't
son
care.
actually cares.
Wow.
He
Hey.
cares about me. He cares about understanding. So I think that there is like a really powerful aspect to that of questioning, but then keeping God involved in it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
pro tip to anyone who's doing what Evan's doing, do what he did. And when you're questioning church and God, don't pull away from church and God.
Don't do it by yourself.
And sometimes people take their doubt in one of the hardest seasons of their life and they go in isolation, and then they wonder why they end up on the other side losing faith and
That's
losing
great,
friends.
because doubt is not evidence against your belief.
Yep.
Doubt is a part of our beliefs.
That's right.
Yeah. I also feel like you cannot have these questions and answer them yourself and have the right answers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I like we don't have the answers. Some questions I've been thinking about lately is just like, when I'm talking to somebody, how am I coming across to them? Like,
Yep.
does it feel like I'm coming on to them? I don't want to get into a position to where I find a girl, think she's fire. I'm going to just put this out there. I don't know who's listening to this podcast. I'm 19. I don't plan on getting married for another 4 years. I'm going to just
y'all better step off. Okay,
so-
you got 4 more years.
But I just don't want to be in a situation like Kim and Kanye, where we like looks like a great marriage. Next thing you know, they're getting a
Well, you
divorce.
also change a lot from 19 to 24, and then
Yeah.
even I'm 29. Like, you just, I remember in high school being like, I want to be married with kids by 21, and I
21.
cannot imagine.
Okay.
It changed so much.
I mean, I think the one thing that we can remember from this podcast is no matter the age, and I apologize, John, I didn't mean to call you old. You're not old. You're
No.
just old to the podcast.
I'm
what I was
old.
inferring. But no matter the age, no matter the situation, if you approach your relationship with commitment and intentionality, I feel you'll be straight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think
That's definitely a key.
like go throughout your week, not even talking relationships. Your relationships with your mom, relationships
Talk
with
commitment.
like your E group. You talk commitment, you talk intentionality, people will think of you highly, and I think that's going to be your challenge for the week.
Well,
Go
and,
throughout your week, be intentional and be committed.
and I think we've got to address the fact that we do think. I was more just messing with you about the old thing. I think people
Didn't
in our
feel like
culture.
I feel shame.
I don't mind being old. I minded being cast off to the side because I'm an emotional person. Hey, Brit. Oh, it's just John. But I think being old, we've got to reclaim the value of being old. And only in America and some in Europe is being old a negative thing. In cultures and history, the older you get, that means you survived longer, you won battles, you're smarter, you possibly have more gold. And I think sometimes why we make dumb decisions when we're young is because we feel like there's a certain window we have to accomplish things in. And we give into the pressure of like going after it. Like you ain't old until you're dead, bro.
Yeah.
Like you're just not. And so don't give into the pressure of I got to do X, Y, Z before I'm 15.
100%.
Because you'll make a lot of dumb decisions under pressure.
Yeah.
Yep.
You guys heard it
100%.
here first. You ain't old till you dead. You got 2 action steps. Be intentional.
That's right.
Get that lightning bolt.
This
Holla
is
at your
great.
boy. It's been Run the Culture.
It's been great. We'll see you next week.
Youth Nation.
Youth Nation.